look like King Kong with titties.
It was a lot of fun. It took about a year to build all the miniatures.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
After 4 years of anticipation, to say that Euphoria Season 3 has been a letdown would be a bigger understatement than saying that the week Rue Bennett was born, in September 2001, was a pretty significant time in modern American history.
I can hear you.
In its first couple of episodes, this season felt like a different show altogether. A gritty neo-western crime thriller about plier-wielding loan sharks and drug-smuggling cartels. Everyone was acting out of character. Rue is suddenly a horny idiot, Maddie is a Tinseltown pimp, Cal is cordial and repentant, and Nate is now pining for Cassie's approval, not the other way around.
Up was down, black was white!
Those first couple of episodes were jam-packed with missed opportunities. I've lost count of how many montages we've seen that would have had so much more life and luster if they had a Labyrinth score behind them. Nate and Cassie tying the knot should have been the red wedding of Euphoria, but the wedding was relatively drama-free. The sister who betrayed Cassie was there, 2 of Nate's old flames were there, one of whom was a victim of the father of the groom's many sex crimes, and yet everyone got along. The only real source of conflict was a champagne cork and a mountain of debt. But episode 4, Kitty Likes to Dance, the first one after the wedding, was a return to form.
5!
Has your friend lost their mind?
4!
Don't do a speech.
3! Hands! 2!
Picking up where episode 3 left off, with Nate's pinky toe briefly reattached as a weak metaphor for his already crumbling marriage, this episode finally felt like classic Euphoria. The most jarring shift from the previous seasons to this one has been the absence of a high school setting. Everyone in the cast may have gotten too old to play a high schooler, but the high school setting brought the ensemble together to catch up in the hallways or gossip in the bathroom. You don't need a high school to put all the characters in that kind of communal space, but the first 3 episodes of Euphoria's latest season never tried to find a replacement. In episode 4, when all the characters are hanging around the pool, trading banter and one-liners and criticizing each other's life choices, it felt like they were back in high school.
What is wrong with you people? You're looking for drugs, you're selling your body on your porn site, and you're like some internet pimp?
Cassie, Maddie, and Lexi all living at the same place and inviting everyone else in their circle to hang out there is a more age-appropriate substitute for the high school hallways.
I'm gonna be a household name!
One of the biggest problems with Euphoria Season 3 is that the characters haven't been acting like themselves. It's like Sam Levinson took such a long hiatus between seasons that he forgot what his characters' voices sound like. But in episode 4, everyone besides Nate finally started acting like themselves. Nate was still acting like someone else entirely, more on that later, but everyone else was in fine form. I loved seeing Maddie wrap Cassie around her finger, figuratively speaking. I loved seeing Cassie desperately compete with another pick-me girl for a famous influencer's attention. I loved seeing Rue bumbling her way through her new role as a DEA informant, making catastrophic mistakes at every turn. She's almost like the dude in way over her drug-addled head, trying to play both sides against each other and failing miserably.
You know, this could be a lot more complex. I mean, it might not be just such a simple, you know?
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm blathering about. I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
I loved seeing Jules unwittingly bring obscenity into Lexi's workplace. I've seen some people criticize that storyline, but Jules strikes me as someone who wouldn't own a TV, and therefore wouldn't know what is or isn't acceptable on a network show. And Lexi's instructions were too vague, because she didn't want to limit Jules' creative freedom, and made way too many assumptions about how well Jules understood the assignment.
Has your friend lost their mind?
I don't care what anyone says, I love that little vignette with Jules and Lexi. They made for a great comedic odd couple pairing, Lexi as the humble professional with egg on her face, and Jules as the free-spirited, uninhibited, airy-fairy bohemian leaving behind messes for her to clean up. And it was a perfect predicament to bring out the worst in both Lexi and Jules, as a mutually beneficial work opportunity quickly became a complete, unmitigated, almost career-ending disaster. That whole sequence was a microcosm of what made this episode such a relief. It finally felt like the messy, chaotic, engaging, energetic show we remember.
4 people are sitting around a table, talking about baseball, whatever you like. 5 minutes of it, very dull. Suddenly, a bomb goes off.
What the fuck is that?
What do the audience have? 10 seconds of shock. Now take the same scene and tell the audience there is a bomb under that table and will go off in 5 minutes. But the whole emotion of the audience is totally different because you've given them that information that in 5 minutes' time, that bomb will go off.
Yo, check it out. Some girl that passed out of here.
Who cares? You wanna dance?
One of the things that made Euphoria's first 2 seasons so much fun was Levinson's use of Hitchcock's bomb-under-the-table techniques to turn mundane everyday situations into a cinematic thrill ride. The pinnacle of that Hitchcockian tension is the iconic scene where Cassie's hiding in a bathtub to prevent Maddie from finding out about her affair with Nate. Kitty Likes to Dance had 2 sequences like that, when Maddie is breaking down the bedroom door to catch Cassie on camera, and when Rue is recording the poker game for her new friends at the DEA. In the bedroom scene, Levinson uses Leone-style cross-cutting to keep you hanging in suspense. He keeps switching back and forth between everyone's perspectives, faster and faster and faster, like the final duel in The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. And the poker scene is set up masterfully with some earlier Mission Impossible-style exposition explaining how the DEA's surveillance app works. So we know how high the stakes are, what she has to do to get the intel they need, and how suspicious it'll look to keep the phone out on the table all night. I had a blast with that episode, and I thought if this is a sign of things to come for the rest of the season, then maybe Euphoria can still be redeemed. But no, apparently we can't have nice things. In episode 5, season 3 went right back to its old tricks.
It's not personal, it's just business. Cass, have some fucking balls.
Maddie was on fire in this episode. She's finally back to being the Lady Macbeth we remember from seasons 1 and 2.
Don't run from me.
She threatens Lexi like a badass, and she plays Cassie like a fiddle when she tries to fire her. And Alexa Demi is nailing every single scene.
Well, just to avoid any future misunderstandings, I drew up a contract.
Maybe I should just show that to my dad's solicitor.
No. Sign it, and then we can talk about it later. Before you sign it, it's all a lot of waffle.
Jules is starting to see the dark side of the sugar baby lifestyle, but it's not getting explored in nearly as much depth as I hoped. When the show began, Jules was the co-lead with Rue, but now she feels like a background character, and there's so much wasted potential in her current storylines. This season doesn't have nearly enough screen time for Jules, and it has way too much screen time for Alamo. I love that actor, I loved him as Mr. Echo in Lost, but the character is written like an edgy 14-year-old just watched Pulp Fiction for the first time and tried their hand at writing a Marcellus Wallace spin-off.
See, this business is filled to the brim with unrealistic motherfuckers. Motherfuckers who thought their ass would age like wine. If you mean it turns to vinegar, it does. If you mean it gets better with age, it don't.
Nah, see, you didn't just think it. You thought to say it, and then you said it. So I'm gonna need a much better explanation of motherfucking I don't know.
With Alamo soaking up half of every episode's runtime, Euphoria Season 3 feels like 2 different shows at once, switching between a somewhat recognizable version of Euphoria and a Pulp Fiction-style contemporary LA spaghetti western. Maddie's unexpected business partnership with Alamo could finally bring those 2 sides of the show together. It could bring Rue's reckless criminal antics crashing into the lives of the unsuspecting main cast.
Well, I'd like to see your inventory first. You might have some busted-ass girls in there.
You got a ride?
Yep.
That's right.
Let's go.
I'm worried Maddie is in over her head. We've seen that she can take care of herself in most instances, but the criminal underworld of Alamo's strip club is a whole different ballpark.
It ain't the same league. It ain't even the same fucking sport.
I'm begging you, Bill. I'm on my hands and knees. I'm begging you.
May I have your attention, please? Will the real
Nate Jacobs.
Please stand up. I repeat, will the real
Nate Jacobs.
Please stand up. We're gonna have a problem here.
Euphoria Season 3 has had a big problem with characters not acting like themselves, but no one is acting less like themselves than Nate Jacobs. Everyone else in the cast is at least playing some version of the character they played before. They've either been flanderized to focus on one specific character trait, like Lexi's holier-than-thou judginess, or they've had major character traits flipped on their head, like Rue's sex drive, going from being virtually non-existent to driving her every decision. But the character played by Jacob Elordi in Euphoria Season 3 does not seem like Nate Jacobs. The character they call Nate is a brand new creation, exclusive to this season, like Angel or Alamo or Bishop. This subservient man-child who just rolls over and lets his wife and his city council and his creditors make all his decisions for him cannot possibly be the same person who held a loaded gun to his girlfriend's head just to get his hands on his dad's digitized sex tapes. Over the last couple of weeks, Euphoria has finally started feeling like Euphoria again. The girls are all back in each other's lives, causing chaos at every turn, and everyone's starting to act more like themselves, from Cassie's classic pick-me energy to Maddie's diabolical Machiavellian scheming. But while everyone else is mostly back on track, Nate is still acting strangely out of character.
I think a sexy video of you and Brandon, that's gonna make a lot of money.
Brandon's a TikTok star. He's not into porn.
I'm not talking about porn. I'm talking about, something erotic.
I don't know who this person is that Jacob Elordi is playing in Euphoria Season 3, but it's not Nate Jacobs. The Nate I know and hate wouldn't maintain his composure after taking a champagne cork to the face. He wouldn't run and hide in the bathroom when he's threatened. And he certainly wouldn't get down on his knees and beg in public.
Sorry, is this a personal thing, Bill? Do you have a personal problem with me, Bill? No. Is that what this is?
I don't.
Are you trying to ruin my life?
When he noticed that a city councillor was personally spiting him, and it was costing him his livelihood, the old Nate would have entrapped and blackmailed that councilman, and had him sent to a maximum security prison for the rest of his life. It would have been hard to watch, but it would have been delicious drama, just like the whole Tyler ordeal. But instead, Season 3 Nate gets down on his knees in front of his neighbours and peers and begs, "Sam Levinson, where is Nate Jacobs and what have you done with him?"
That man's an imposter! That man is the imposter!
It honestly sometimes feels like Levinson wrote a completely different script about a completely different couple, a money-grubbing OnlyFans star and her desperate, debt-ridden husband who becomes a cook out of financial necessity, and just find and replace the names with Nate and Cassie to meet his deadline for Euphoria Season 3. It'd probably be a better story if the couple at the centre of it weren't supposed to be Nate and Cassie. Cassie fits the part of the OnlyFans megastar breadwinner, but Nate does not fit the part of the timid, obedient house husband. He at least pushed back a little in the previous episodes, but in episode 5, Nate is just Cassie's emasculated cheerleader.
That is that positive mentality. That is how winning is done. I love you.
He's weirdly supportive of Cassie moving in with another man and making erotic videos with him. When Cassie first brought up the idea of starting an OnlyFans page a few weeks ago, Nate responded in his usual stoic, toxic, possessive, hyper-masculine way and put his foot down as the man of the house. So this is a complete 180 from his original stance. He's using her income to pay off his debts, so he has a monetary incentive to keep up the charade of supporting her OnlyFans career. But this isn't a charade anymore. He's genuinely excited about it. In the months leading up to Euphoria Season 3's release, there were all kinds of rumours flying around about what the plot would entail. From Rue becoming a surrogate mother to Rue starting a detective agency like Encyclopedia Brown. One of the most concerning bits of gossip trundling around the Euphoria rumour mill was that Nate would get a redemption arc of sorts. Hollywood has a bad habit of redeeming irredeemable characters like Negan and Kylo Ren. So the idea of Maddie's abuser, Jules' blackmailer, and Tyler's life ruiner getting to become a hero in the end was quite vexing. Thankfully, Nate's arc in Season 3 hasn't been much of a redemption arc, unless you consider endless punishment to be grounds for redemption. But it's arguably something even worse. It's no arc at all. It's just loan sharks beating him up and Cassie telling him what to do. Nate has gone from being the puppet master controlling everyone around him to having absolutely no agency in his own life. I do like the idea of seeing Nate try out his high school bully bullshit in the real world and get a brutal reality check, but it feels like we missed a step. It's like there's a chapter missing where we actually see Nate get broken by the real world. I feel like I'm watching Season 4 and I missed Season 3 a couple of years ago. It's like Daenerys Targaryen's overnight turn into a mass murdering war criminal. It's not even that much fun to watch Nate get beaten up anymore because he hasn't done anything particularly bad this season. It's like Levinson wants to recapture the grisly satisfaction of watching Fezco beat Nate to a pulp, but didn't do anything to set it up this time. It's diminishing returns. Eventually, Nate is going to run out of appendages to snip off.
He means his cock.
Mount Everest ain't got shit on me.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like and subscribe and click on the little bell. And also seize the day and call your mom and be kind to yourself.